Danny, this is crazy, man. You got everybody thinking that we're kissing sisters out. See, I mean, at this point, Danny, you're drunk. Because you know how everybody says when you tie, it's like a brother and sister kissing.
No,
you never heard that? Oh, you're a wild, bro.
That's the battered way of looking at things, though, right? Because
we're the battered herons, Ian.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Chris, the herons are back. Welcome, everyone, to a special episode of 47 of the Battered Herons podcast. This was not originally scheduled, but once we got the news dropped, once Chris lost his shit when he heard the news and he talked to me, I said, you know what? I think it's time to get on the mics because I feel like you need to air out your grievances live on YouTube, and we're still going to be on at 9 o'clock like regularly scheduled with our man Joe Shaw. But Chris, how are you doing?
I was looking forward to this episode, right? But here we got Lucas chiming in just real early, right? Let Chris Henderson cook. You just reminded me to bring the adobo and all the stuff that I have in my kitchen because I think he needs a little bit of help cooking. Either that or he's getting saucy in the kitchen because, oh my God, we robbed Montreal? What?
Look, for the record, it's funny because just 2 weeks ago, I came out on a limb, right? And I didn't say I was anti-Chris Henderson. I still think he's done a great job with everything that he's been handed, right? The roster he was handed, all the penalties and sanctions that he's had to work through. I feel like he's done a great job. But I did bring up the fact that maybe we should start questioning just a little bit. If we're going to question Neville, why not question Henderson also, right? I think it's only fair. But you said that I was crazy, and you started bashing me because you love Henderson, and he shouldn't be questioned. So, as Michael Scott would say, have the turntables turned? Are you questioning Chris Henderson now?
I think that it is ridiculous to. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, did we sign Bryce Duke like on one of those little kiddie writing pads that you just shake and erase? Because that's basically what we did. We signed his contract for absolutely no reason because this guy's just shipped off. I don't know if there's any monetary value coming back to the team.
It
like
is.
Later
look,
on.
I have it out there on the bottom right corner. I have what we got in return.
So we got GAM, TAM, and no thank you, ma'am. Okay? Get out of here, Chris Henderson.
Are we ready to get into the actual trade, or do you want to let off a little more steam?
Let's talk about real information. Go give numbers and all that kind of other crap.
So on the way out, heading north of the border, we have Bryce Duke, which everybody, I think it was just about unanimous across the fan base. Everybody thought that he was a future star on this team, a foundational piece, a possible future 10. Everybody loved Bryce Duke. It was hard to find the Inter Miami fan that was not excited to see what Bryce Duke would bring. So much so that we saw that extension that he got earlier, a month or so ago, and everybody was ecstatic. That's it. We got one of our core pieces moving forward. But he goes now to Montreal, along with Ariel Lassiter. Now, look, I hate bashing players. I mean, I know that we do it just because we talk about the team. So I don't want to bash him on the way out, but I'm not necessarily that upset to see Ariel Lassiter leave. I mean, how many times did we see him with a good opportunity to score, either hit the post or hit a defender when there was no goalie around? Like he wasn't good at finishing, although he had the speed to make some things happen. I think Ariel Lassiter might have been kind of like a throw-in, as messed up as that may sound.
I think that for sure Duke spiced up that trade. I think the fact that Duke was included in the trade was basically the thing where Montreal said, I think we got to take this because this kid could potentially be part of our future. Now, Lassiter, I mean, he's still young, I guess, so he can be effective, just maybe in the right system. I mean, and I've been a huge supporter of Lassiter. I've always thought that the way that he plays is very good, his speed. And I love, Adrian, that he just put that up and you brought it down. that we keep a percentage off of these guys. So if Duke does go overseas, then we're
get a
getting a cut
percentage of
off
that.
of that. So
Right.
I'll take
and
that.
like Matthew said, this is as far as a business move goes, we got Duke for $100K. And in return, in this deal, we got 1.3 million in GAM. So
Yeah.
we money-wise, business-wise, this was a win. Now, when we're talking just soccer, right? Bryce Duke, we had Dixon Arroyo coming in. Dixon Arroyo, I think we can all agree, was gonna be a starter, no matter what. There's no way that we get him and he's not a starter from day one. So somebody needs to be sacrificed. It's not gonna be Mota. We all feel like Pizarro's played pretty well. So who was gonna get sacrificed? There's a good chance that Bryce Duke was heading to the bench anyway. So what did we do? We made the best out of our current situation. We needed to shake things up. And let's be honest, Bryce Duke wasn't playing that well this year. And I know what you're going to say. He was playing out of position. I get it. We all thought that he would be a good 10 while we waited for hopefully Messi in the summer. But he has to play well wherever they put him. He has to accommodate quickly. I want to say it was Ian Hess that he had talked to Neville not too long ago, and they were talking about how he sat down with Bryce Duke, and he said, Bryce, you got to get comfortable playing either the 6 or the 8, because Inter Miami's the type of team that will constantly bring a DP number 10, right? That's what we're looking for. At the number 10 position, we're going to constantly be looking for a DP, a big name. So Bryce Duke probably isn't going to get a chance to be a 10. If he is, it'll be temporary. It's not going to be a long-term solution at the 10. So he was going to have to accommodate to playing the 6 or the 8 because he wasn't going to get much spell at the 10 on this franchise long term. So if he didn't feel comfortable with the 6 and 8 roles, he might have wanted out also.
So I see Adrian just plugged in. No one's going to give us a player plus GAM for Pizarro or Mota. I could see that. But, I mean, why can't we include garbage Stefanelli in the trade instead of Duke? Like, we don't have any sort of like big link with Stefanelli.
Well, first of all, I'm not exactly sure how the rules work. I'm not sure if you can go ahead and trade a player just like a month or two after signing him. But
I mean, but then what does that say about Duke? We just signed Duke to the Theta pad.
He's been with us. But the thing with Duke is Montreal is a selling team. They develop players and they sell them. I promise you, if Duke has potential, Montreal will develop him and they will sell him. And we will see a good percentage of that because that's what Montreal does.
I just think that it's a joke. I think it's a joke that we ended up signing Duke to some agreement, contract, whatever. And then weeks later, he's getting shipped off to freaking Montreal. Right, like Lassiter, I can get right. I mean, he hasn't been performing, and he's actually been given several opportunities. Lassiter, Duke.
Well, look,
let's keep it 1,000. Let's keep it 1,000. Duke hasn't been given prime opportunities in the position that he needs to play in at least this year. Maybe last year he had some opportunities, but I mean, come on, let's keep it a buck.
Like you said, let's keep it a buck. Everybody, this trade is basically centered around Bryce Duke. So why talk about Ariel Lassiter? We understand what he was. He was a speed guy, a pace changer. We get it. We appreciate what he did for the team. He wasn't a finisher. I don't think too many people are too sad to see him go. This is about Duke, right?
Yes.
And I understand the potential that Duke had. But if in return we're getting what, from everything I've read today, and I'll get into some of the numbers. From everything I've read today and some of the numbers that I looked at, one of the better central center backs in the league. If you're going to get that in return, you have to give something up. Like, I understand that what you want to do is you want to be like, oh, we'll offer you Harry Neville and Lassiter. And like, you can't. You have to offer something of value. And right now, the same way Inter Miami fans felt about Duke's potential, I'm sure a lot of teams in the league also feel like this kid has a lot of potential. So he was that trading piece that we had. So unfortunately, to get a player of Miller's caliber, we had to give up something of value. And Bryce Duke is what we had.
I look, and you know I like to look at everything through FIFA numbers, right? So this guy Kamal Miller had a brand new special FIFA card, right? I think it was ranked 87. And so if we look at it that way, where we're trading 2 bronze cards for a special 87 card, I'll take that any day of the week, right? I mean, look, I looked into Kamal Miller too, and look, he has a lot of positive things. His stats are great. He played a lot of games with CF Montreal. He was starting. And so I feel like for sure the implementation is going to be swift and easy. Yeah, look, Luca, you know I got to go there, buddy. I got to go there. Okay. That's the only way I understand life and
Look,
life
and
itself.
I love that the comment section is just full of positivity. Everybody is happy with
Oh
this deal.
my God.
Who would have thought
Yeah,
just 2
because
months
Hendo
ago
is putting
that if we
freaking
hear
roofies in your drinks.
Well, look, I also think that everybody blindly loves Hendo, but this was a good deal. Now, for those of you that aren't too familiar with Kamal Miller, drafted by Orlando in 2019, starter from day one. Then he was drafted by Austin in the expansion draft 2020, and he was immediately traded to Montreal, where he started for the last couple of years. He was an all-star last year, 2022. And again, from everything I've heard, one of the best defenders in the league. And also, he's played for Canada, the national team, 36 caps. He's played 36 games for the international team, Canadian. If you tell me I'm getting a player that has international experience, he played in the World Cup. Now, I don't know if he actually got into the games. I didn't get the chance to get to that. But he was on the national team for the World Cup. Like, this kid has a lot of experience. And I say kid because he's only 25. He's not a 28, 29, 30-year-old Grizzly veteran. No, he's still 25. He's just entering his prime now. So this is a good piece we got. Now, what I want to get into now is, well, I'm sorry, before I get into that, are you done talking about Duke, or do you want to add anything else about Duke and how you now lost Emerson, you lost Duke?
Listen, I'll tell you, and people brought it up to me on Twitter. It's crazy because I've called 2 trades. I was dying. I was looking back at all of our episodes. I couldn't find the actual message, the actual time that I said when he was going to get traded. But yeah, I guess I'm just jinxing people out here, and I got to stop talking about people and getting traded. Or maybe I should talk about Stefanelli getting traded to, like, I don't know, Miami FC
Look,
or something.
I don't know why you're hating on Stefanelli. Stefanelli, I understand that he hasn't been producing. It's been 7 games.
God.
He's getting accustomed to the MLS. He's been playing the 10, which everybody knows he's not a 10. Let's leave him off at the wing. And I think our formation might be changing soon. All right, so let's get into that. And actually, let me put for everybody out there in the chat, okay? I'm going to put this out here. Me and Chris are going to say what we feel about how this team's going to look after the trade on the field, as far as formation goes, what players are going to get benched, what players are going to get started. And we're going to do that for the next couple minutes. But after that, we want to try something new. We're going to put an invite on the chat. And if you want to join us in with your camera on and you want to kind of just join the show live and be like a third host, we could take turns. If anybody wants to jump in, I'm going to put that invite there in a couple minutes. And if you want to join, feel free. And then we'll have you jump in and you can, because we're kind of curious as to what other people are feeling, right? So,
and you don't have to put the camera on either. You could be like Trav and like Carmen Sandiego it, and just not even put your face on the camera. You can come through, put your microphone up, we'll open it up, give you guys a couple minutes, we'll kick it, talk about whatever's on your mind with this, because Hendo is drunk in the kitchen making tacos.
I think Hendo is finally making moves. And you know what I liked is that today he said that this frees us up to make moves in the near future. Okay, so near future, meaning he is not done. And for everybody that's saying, oh, we just got $1 million in GAM, in GAM. Oh, now we can go get Messi. $1 million isn't going to get you Messi. It's also not going to get you Busquets. Okay, this is a move for the near future. I promise you, this is not done to like, oh yeah, we got an extra $1 million. Now Messi might actually come. No, that's not what's gonna break the camel's back. All right, like that's not getting Messi here. Anyway,
well, so put the link up. Put the link up so that way
I'll put the invite in.
Yeah, put the invite
Uh,
in. I mean, look, I'm telling you about this trade. As far as aesthetically is concerned, and looking at all the numbers and checking out what their performance was and what fits best with the team, okay, I'll give it to you guys. Hendo's doing something. Now, this guy, Kamal Miller, right? I mean, in a 3-back line, I guess it could fit. That's what I'm anticipating. What I'm anticipating is that at least what'll happen is we'll finally have a good 3-back line. We'll be able to get our wing backs to push up a little bit more, and so we'll feel a little bit more comfortable. But what bothers me about this trade, and I don't know how much money is getting paid over to Jamal. I mean, it says 1.3 million in GAM, right? Whatever that means. I mean, at this point, could that money have gone to
general
Pozuelo?
allocation money.
Whatever. Okay. Could
I don't
that
know how
money
much.
have?
I don't know how much Pozuelo was asking for. I know that it was DP money, so we couldn't afford him. I honestly don't know if that could have helped us at all. I don't. I
But
don't.
could that have been enough money to get Pozuelo? Right. So here we are now investing this money to Kamal Miller. Right. We're giving up a potential person that can be able to make a difference in the midfield. I don't know.
He was gonna get benched. Duke was gonna get benched. And Kamal Miller, look, Kamal Miller has 1 year left on his deal. Okay. So if we don't like the way things are working out, deuces. Okay. So, and we have an option for 2024. So the ball's in our court with Kamal Miller. Now, when it comes to how we're going to look on the field now, you said maybe we're looking at 3 in the back. I think we might be looking at 3 in the back. Obviously, Neville doesn't trust Sailor or Mabika out there. Okay. So because he doesn't, he had Yellen playing one of the 3 center back roles, which absolutely made no sense to anybody. So now we got Miller, Kristoff, and McVay in the back. With those 3 in the back, and we feel pretty confident with those 3 in the back, now we can release our wing backs. We can go ahead and let Negri and Yedlin go to work. And honestly, I think that there's a chance that Yedlin might get benched. I think there's a chance that they might let Robert Taylor play right wing. He said there's some players that are feeling comfortable. And you and I both agreed that he might be talking about Joseph and about Yedlin. So if he is talking about Joseph and Yedlin, then there's a chance that Yedlin goes and gets benched. And now we have Miller, McVay, and Kristoff in the back with Robert Taylor and Negri running up the wings. So I have a feeling that might be happening. And go ahead, Chris.
Nobody cares what you have to say anymore, Danny. We got Matthew Hanau sitting in the backstage. He's in the green room. So let's bring him in so that way he can tell us what he has to think about this abomination named Chris Henderson and the moves that he's had to make. So,
what's going on,
Matthew, thank you for joining the Batter Hair On show. I want to hear what your opinion is on this clown show.
Clown show. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So I think I'm like a guru a little bit with the roster cap rules. So I can explain it to you guys in a little bit. So GAM is general allocation money. I'm not going to get into the TAM and international roster slots. That's another thing for another time. But for when it comes to GAM, whenever you have a DP signing, right, a senior DP, there's a lot of it. So if it's a person over 25 years old and they're getting paid over $612,000 a year per season, yeah, they have to be designated as a DP, right? You can buy them down using general allocation money. You know, let's say.
Which is what we're trying to do with Gregory.
Exactly. You can buy them down. I think the minimum is $200,000, which brings them, if you do the math, oh, my phone is falling. What do you call it? $412,000, right? So no matter what DP you have, your salary cap gets hit $612,000. No matter what.
Yeah.
So basically, no matter Pozuelo could be asking for, I don't know, $255 million a year. I'm not saying that. He has
you're just throwing a number out.
Throwing an X number. No matter what, your salary cap will always be $612,000 a year. If you sign him in the summer, it's only $306,000 of general allocation money. which is half of 612.
Oh, I see. That makes
So
a
if we
lot of
sign
sense.
Messi, so on the Pozuelo deal, because we signed him in the summer, the salary cap only gets hit $306,000 in GAM. So that's how it is. I think the maximum you can spend on a player is $1.1 million to be able that will be a TAM player that you can then buy down using GAM or TAM under a certain amount. So they're under a DP level.
So, Matthew, I need to know what you think about this trade. Do you think it's a great move? Do you think it's a so-so move? What's on your mind in terms of the trade and what we got in terms of what in turn with what we gave away?
Chris, don't you see the tattoo on his forearm? It says "In Hendo we trust."
I wish I had one of those. But are you allowed to? Are we allowed to curse on this live stream?
Have you not
Sure,
seen Chris
my son's
before?
watching,
Yeah.
but he hears me curse all the time. Who cares?
All right, Lassiter, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. Never want to see him again. Ever again. Bye. He hits the damn corner flag. He's worse than Mota in sending the damn ball for a field goal. It's the worst. He missed a sitter today, and I think that's what I think Henderson said. We got to get rid of this guy.
What about Duke? You all right with Duke?
No, we had a breakout season last year, right? 7 assists and 1 goal, right? And we were like, oh my god, this guy's actually cooking. We stole this guy from LAFC for $100,000, right? So I'm really iffy on it, but I am happy for him because he's not in a club that ruins his career.
That is a fact.
We were ruining his career in front of our eyes. We were seeing a bright young talent turn into the next. I don't know what's a young guy who gets ruined in Europe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Chelsea. Anyone who moves to Chelsea, right? Joao Felix. He was our Joao Felix. We were ruining his career, playing him out of position. His back passing wasn't even his fault because Neville was telling him to back pass and reset because we were insisting on playing out of the back. You know,
So
Duke seems like a nice guy.
Are you good with Duke for Miller? Grade, final grade, A, B, C, or D. Grade the trade.
I think this was an A- trade, A- B+ trade, because the only reason why it's not like a B or a B- is because Kamal Miller. We have 2 center backs, 2 stud center backs.
I don't know if McVay is a stud.
Sergi is a stud.
Yes.
He is a stud. Yes.
So
But McVay hasn't been playing like a stud.
I never said he's a stud. We have 2 center backs now.
Oh, you're talking about with Miller now.
With Miller. Well, we have 2.
Okay.
One who
I got
just
you.
came off the World Cup. One who just came off the World Cup.
I thought you meant we had one before the trade. Got you. Okay, understood.
Oh, no, exactly. No, we had like 1.5, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's like a baby stud. He's like a little baby stud.
Exactly. So we have Miller, who just came off the World Cup. You know, he's a part of the big boys. You know, he's a part of the Glesnes. Like I would compare it to Glesnes in the Philly Union, or
I agree.
don't know, the Wagner. I would compare it to that. He's like, you know, luxury in MLS, right? And we have Sergey, who just came off the Champions League in Shakhtar Donetsk. So we have a World Cup and a Champions League defender. 30 and 25. One just coming out of their prime, and one just getting in their prime. If we play a 3 in the back, I think we'll be okay. Now we won't have to deal with Yedlin jogging to track back because he's.
I don't think Yedlin's going to be playing. I honestly think Yedlin might get benched, and it's going to be Robert Taylor playing that right wing back. That's what I'm expecting.
Oh my! What? You are on drugs, Danny D for drugs.
Who started at right wing back last game?
But he has a point. He did play right wing back last game, which makes no freaking sense.
Last game and last year, I'm telling you, people are telling me he did it. I know he did. I remember him playing right wing back.
Listen, I give this trade a C- for Chris Henderson.
Ooh, why do you think so?
Because Chris Henderson, man, I really don't believe that he made. Look, it's like I said before. I think statistically and matching Duke with Kamal Miller, I think it was great. I don't know if it's going to be great for our future. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about this messy crap anyway, but I don't know. I don't know what this is going to be for the future, right? This is like a move for now. I'll tell you what the good thing about this move is. This move is basically chiming someone in to be able to say, well, we pulled this move for you, Phil Neville. So if you don't do great now, we're definitely going to fire your ass. So
all right, Matthew, we got somebody else in the back room waiting to get on. We appreciate your time. I love your comments with the Hendo constantly cooking. That's literally what I expect to see every time he joins the chat. I don't know. I have my doubts, but today he made me believe a little more. Appreciate you, Matthew, and we'll catch you on the next one.
One last thing.
Go for it.
I wish Robbie Robinson got sold instead of Duke.
that we can all agree
for glass legs.
A+.
Nobody's paying for glass legs. All right. Well, thank you a lot, Matthew. We'll catch you later.
Don't get fired, Matthew. Take it easy, bro.
All right. So joining now, we got from La Ventanita, we got my man Calypso. Shit. What's going on?
I'm here. What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Oh, you're in fire. You're in high definition, my friend.
Yeah, I got the other camera working. How y'all doing?
That microphone is godly. I mean, it's a little
real quick
before
we get to Calypso's comments, because I'm dying to know what Calypso says. Real quick, I was looking at, you know how over the last couple of weeks I keep bringing up the percentage of headed duels that we win, and we're dead last in the league. We're like 35%. I decided to look at just our defenders, right? Just our center backs. So this season so far, Kristoff is winning 50% of his headed duels. Average, right? 50% is dead average. You want him to be above average, but dead average. That's where we're at. That's fine. McVay, if you had to guess a percentage for McVay's headed duels, what percent of his headers is he winning? Give me a percent. Both of you, give me a percent. Chris first.
More than 30%.
More than 30. Okay. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say like 35.
22%. He's winning 22% of his headed duels. Now,
you know what would be worse if
our new. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So now we go to Kamal Miller. Okay, Kamal Miller isn't that tall of a guy. He's 6 foot. He's winning 75% of his headed duels this season.
Ooh.
There's only 7 players that are winning at a higher percentage than him that are defenders. Like, is he still going to be winning that with our short team and people around him? I don't know. But, I mean, those are the numbers, and I like those numbers. Another thing, last year, I mean, Gregory's aggressive, so we fouled a lot, right? We were undisciplined. A lot of fouls.
That was a big problem last year.
That was a big problem.
Yes.
So just looking at last year, Gregory, 78 fouls committed. McVay, 50. Lowe, 40. Yedlin, 36. All last season, fouls committed. Yellow cards, 12 Gregory, 9 Lowe, 7 Yedlin, okay? This guy is disciplined. Last season, you know how many fouls he committed all season? He played 27 games. He was an all-star. He committed 16 fouls all season. He had 4 yellow cards all season. What does that tell me? He's a disciplined defender. We don't have to worry about him making some boneheaded fouls. Okay, so at least we know we got that. That's it. So at least we got
him next to Kristoff. That's going to be a crazy pairing.
Yes.
So I originally,
the floor is yours, Clip. So what you think?
I originally read the tweet wrong. I don't know if like how they wrote it, or I'm an idiot and I read it wrong. I thought that we were giving away the GAM and the 2 players. I was like, originally, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh, then I read it. Okay. So now that I know that we're getting a pretty good defender, and we got over, which by the way, apparently this is the most deal we've ever in MLS history
in a trade. Yeah,
that's crazy to me.
We had the first before, I think, with
it was
Morgan.
Yeah, because it was 1.2
Lewis Morgan.
It was 1.2 million. So both times we have the most in GAM. That's crazy. Hendo's cooking as usual. And not only that, we still have that one guy from Amalek coming. That I assume that's what they were talking about when they said they're going to get a deal done in a couple of days. I assume that's who it was, but we're going to have
it's already done. That one's already technically done. I think it's already official, no?
He alluded that it was pretty much done, just ironing out the kinks and whatnot. I don't know if,
Well,
if
listen,
any,
it's Instagram official because I think that he friended Campana, so it's
and
as official
That's all I need
as
to
he
hear.
also put up a post saying goodbye to the team. Basically,
Ooh,
he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, thank you for the time, blah blah blah. Thanks for having
It's
me."
in the bag.
But I don't know if you guys know about his whole issue in Ecuador, how they weren't paying him.
And he put them on blast, no?
Yeah, they hadn't been paying
Ooh.
him since October, and he put them on. Like not even just him, the team. None of the players were getting paid since October, and then he put them on blast, and then they punished him for him putting them on blast, even though they didn't refuse to pay him. Like it was a wild situation. But I think having him and
So how
then
you feeling
having
about the trade in general? How you feeling about the trade in general?
trade, I think it's good.
letting go of Duke.
As much as I love Duke, he was underperforming. I love Duke. He was a great. I think he had potential. I met him a couple times. He's a great guy. But if we're gonna talk just X's and O's or whatever, he was underperforming massively. It is what it is. It's sports. Same thing with Lassiter. He had so many chances.
He did. He did. He had a lot.
And
he started a lot last year too.
He started a lot because we needed him because people were constantly suspended. So I think that. So I kind of said it. I come to it like it's time to rip off the Band-Aid. We're on a 5-game losing streak. It's still the beginning of the season, and we have a break now. So like no time like the present, right? If you can get this guy,
Perfect time.
You can just do it. Hey, do it. And the last thing I'll say about this is I saw Franco, and I'll talk to him about this like next time I see him. About he kind of characterized it as Phil Noah was kind of like talking. I don't want to say talking shit, but like he kind of was two-faced because he was talking good about Bryce Duke and how he wanted to be part of the future of the team. But like this sports, man, sometimes you just get a good deal. You're like, you know what? Shit, we got to take that deal, man. That's how it is.
I was gonna say, like, if would anybody be saying this if in return we got a big name from Europe? No, nobody would be saying this. But right now, it's like, but he said Duke's part of our future and that he likes him. To
At
get
the time,
a good player, you have to give up a good player. Like whenever you see fans on Twitter like doing these like hypothetical trades, they're always going ahead and they're receiving Messi, but they're giving away Harry Neville. Like that's not how it works. You have to give up something of value. If you want to get something good back, you have to give something up. Like that's just the way it works. It's a business. And I mean some business or some general managers are idiots, but for the most part, most are going to try to get something worthwhile. So we had to, if Kamal Miller is as good as some people are saying, like we had to give up Bryce Duke. Who else would you give up? Like who else on this team holds as much value as Bryce Duke did as far as potential goes? Campana, maybe.
And we just signed him off a loan on a big deal, so we're not getting rid of him. That doesn't make business sense. Not even just tactical sense. Business sense.
I think he's talking about Campana.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're not.
Remember, he was on loan from Wolves, and then we signed him permanently. So to do that and then get rid of him would be stupid.
And we also feel like he is gonna be a star. Like that's the hope that everybody has. And he's only played one game for 60 minutes. So I think we haven't lost all hope with him. We're just waiting to see what he does. Well, I agree. So you're okay with Duke. Now, as far as how we're gonna look on the field, what are you thinking? As far as the on the field look, because I'm thinking we're gonna go with 3 in the back, but some people are saying maybe McVay's gonna lose his spot and we're just gonna stay with 2 in the back. And now that we have Dixon Arroyo at the 6, maybe Yedlin and Negri can push up a little further like they were doing, because now we have Dixon to go ahead and drop back a little further, and now we can cover up those empty holes on the sides. Like, how are you thinking we're gonna look?
Pretty much. I have a tweet here from Tom Bobert that pretty much I agree with what he's saying. Like you mentioned, 3 in the back. So we have Miller, Christophe, McVay, Yedlin, Negri on the sides. Arroyo, it's pretty much done. Arroyo in the middle next to Pizarro and Mota, and Campana and Martinez at the top. I think that's a great formation. I think that's perfect because we can still
it is.
We can still keep running up and down the wings ad nauseum like we always do, like we've been doing all season. But now we actually have ways to go up the middle and actually like play through the middle instead of just like that last game. Literally, just all we did was run up and down the cross. That's all we did. But now we actually have options up the middle.
This has got to suck for people like Mabika and Sailor. You know, I mean they must be feeling the sting for sure.
They'll play at FIU.
Well, Mabika was playing I'm pretty sure he played in the MLS Pro match.
You'll be there, right?
Oh yeah, I already bought my ticket. I'm already gone.
You're
But
going?
I think he played in the MLS Pro match lately. So
He does.
We'll
He does.
see.
So does Marsman and all them. But
yeah,
I'm wondering now if we go 3 in the back with our 2 wing backs and we keep the 2 strikers right up top, there's a lot of people that are all of a sudden going to be left on the bench because we're not only going with this new formation, but it's 2 brand new players. So all of a sudden, we think Mota is going to be starting almost for sure, right? We think Campana is going to be starting up top. If Joseph doesn't start, it might be Borgelin, but it'll be one of the 2.
I honestly think it should be Borgelin right now.
Well,
Yeah.
as do I to an extent. I think that that's what's going to happen, right? But if it's not Borgelin, it's Joseph. But we know it's Joseph or Borgelin with Campana up top. We know in the back are 3 CBs. We know it's going to be Negri on the left. We know Mota staying. So the 2 question marks for me are, is it Pizarro or is it Stefanelli next to Mota? And on the right wing back, I still think it's Robert Taylor, but a lot of people are saying that I'm crazy and they think it's going to be Yedlin. What are you guys thinking?
Go ahead, Chris.
Listen, the Stefanelli, like I said last episode, that whole experiment, I'm so done with it. I
think Pizarro should start also.
Yeah, no, that goes without a shadow of a doubt. What do you think, Calypso?
I think Pizarro's actually been playing pretty well, to be
Yes.
honest.
Why?
He's been playing really well. Like, he's not scoring, but he's constantly going after the ball. That one goal from, I think it was Jean Mota when he just took it outside the box and just shot it.
Yes.
That was because of Pizarro being tenacious. He's not the person that's going to be doing the leading pass or whatever, or getting through passes, but he's been that guy that's just been a maniac running around the midfield, like chasing people. And that's kind of what we need right now. We just need a tenacious that just go after people and just tackle them or grab the ball or whatever he needs to do. He's been filling that role really well, even though he's not scoring, but then again, nobody's scoring on our team right now.
Yeah, that's true. And Pizarro isn't a scoring kind of player anyway. Like, you don't expect goals from him. My understanding is that in his career, his entire career, his best season as far as scoring goals was 7 goals. So he's not somebody that consistently puts it in the back of the net. Like, that's not his game.
But he'll get you there.
He'll get you there, right? And he'll have that key pass or the key play that would be like a hockey assist, you can say, right? That doesn't count in the stats, but he created the play. Like, that's the type of game that he has going right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we need somebody to help him finish, to connect with him, and to connect with the 2 up top. Now, I'm hoping that now we could free up Negri and what I think is going to be Robert Taylor up on the wings with the 2 center backs. We have some more room to roam, and our wing backs don't have to be so focused in on, I got so much shit to worry about. I got to go and contribute on offense, but shit, I got to get back on defense. Like, they can go ahead and be a little more clear-minded with what they're doing because they got a lot of responsibilities right now. Probably the most on the team. Those 2 guys have been running back and forth and holding a lot on their shoulders. So I really hope that this kind of lessens the load for them a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring up a comment that someone made up here.
Okay, go ahead. Because then I want to bring up Pineda's real quick. Also, go ahead. First.
The comment I want to bring here is Steve Munoz coming through with a dime. That Pizzi's the only midfielder that's always probing and more vertical. And then on top of that, you have, Matthew asking with the trade, we kiss goodbye to the 4-4-2 diamond, which I think leads into the one that you put. Yes,
because all right. So Roosevelt Pineda, he said 4-4-2 diamond is better because the wingers don't come back faster.
So what do you think, Calypso? Do you think that the 4-4-2 diamond is out of here, or do you think that that's something that we're still going to be able to retain?
I think we'll pull it out when we need to, if it's necessary, like we have a suspension or injury. But I think that 3-5 whatever formation,
3-5-2.
It's 5. I think 5-3-2, 3-5. It's
5-3-2. Yeah,
whatever.
I think that'll be our main formation. And keep in mind, and I'm glad they stopped doing this. Remember last year they would actually put a formation when they put our lineups, but Phil will never, ever, ever follow that formation.
Yeah, of course.
Never.
Yeah, they'd lie to you.
Because he not even specifically lie, he would just constantly change the formation. So that's why I'm not too worried about what specific formation we're going to start in, because he's going to change up the formation anyways halfway through the game.
Yeah.
Anyway. So to me, it's kind of a moot point. Kind of.
My question is, if we spent the whole preseason preaching about the 4-4-2 diamond, this is what we were preparing for up until a couple of minutes before the first game of the season kicked off, which is when we were all surprised that Campana was hurt. Like, this was supposed to be our formation for the season. We finally got Campana back with Joseph, and we don't try it out. Like, wasn't this supposed to be like what our bread and butter was going to be? We're going to do the 4-4-2. We got the strikers up top. Is it because we don't have a 10 that we're like, you know what, maybe we don't want to do it anymore? Because I'm surprised that we're not going to try it at all. Like, when we spent all of preseason, that's what we're working on. And then we finally have the players for it. And we decide, let's go another way. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I think we're going to go with 3 in the back. I do. But
I hope so too.
I can't understand why they wouldn't try the diamond when they finally got the 2 pieces up top that kind of made them go to the 4-4-2 diamond.
And one last thing I'll mention real quick is that helps out, because I think one of the big problems, like if you look at the individual goals, Yedlin has been a big liability tracking back, because a lot of the goals that we've conceded have been counterattacks. So I think that helps Yedlin a lot, because he's running up and down doing suicides all damn day. And especially that, I think when I first noticed this was that goal against Chicago where Kai Kamara scored. And he's
Kai Kamara's old as shit.
But Yedlin is gassed, and this is in the 93rd minute.
Yeah, he's gassed at that point. Forget about it.
So he's not tracking back, and I think that frees up Yedlin a lot more, because you have 3 in the back and you have a lot more help back there. So he can be helped out a lot more, and he can actually track back, and he's not exhausted by like the end of the game where we concede a lot of goals, or at least we did in the first part.
All right.
So closing it out. So closing it out, Calypso. What do you? So you think very highly and positive of this trade? You think that this might help us, I guess, propel into greener pastures coming up this season?
The more I think about it, at first I was unsure, but the more I think about it, the more I like it. Yeah, because like I said, Duke and Lassiter, as much as I liked them, they were underperforming. This guy is a baller in the back. It changes up our formation and helps us out, because we were kind of doing we're kind of just like taped. It was like a taped together formation. It was like whatever we had. But I think the new potential formation fits a lot better what we have. And then on top of the other pieces that we have coming in that are pretty much already done, I think it helps a lot. Are we going to be perfect? Absolutely not. We're going to still concede goals. But I think as long as we fix that part, and I think we should bench Martinez for at least the next game and put Borjan up there, because our problem hasn't been, in my opinion, too much the defense in the midfield. It's been the attack. That's our big problem. We concede 1 or 2. The last couple of games, we've conceded. We only lost like 1 or 2 goals. But if we score 1 or 2 goals, then that's 1 point. That's a win. That's a tie here and there, and we're not in the dire situation that we are right now.
I mean, I don't think our defenses look as good as the stats say. And I also think that the loss of Gregory, even though technically he didn't assist in the offense, the fact that we had Mota and Duke playing so far back and kind of hesitating to push up to assist in the offense because they needed to make sure that they held it down for Gregory's absence also kind of hurt us defensively. And Yedlin and Negri being up there, but having to worry about coming back so often because nobody was filling in those holes also. So I felt like Gregory was a very vital part to our offense without really participating in the offense, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I do think that was a big loss. But we're pushing up against the end here because Chris and I are going to be back at 9 o'clock to talk Miami Fusion with Joe Shaw. So anything else that you want to tell the people, Calypso? Tell the people where they can find you, Calypso.
It's right at the bottom screen, La Venta de CF. We're actually probably going to record tonight, so that should be up by at the latest Friday. If you don't see it up tomorrow, it'll be up on Friday. Me and Bernie are probably going to record, and we're going to talk a lot of the same things. We're going to talk about not only the Dallas game, but the trade and all that other stuff. So yeah, come check us out. Thanks for having me on.
La Ventanita is still the best name in the game.
And I will always say this: I will not take credit for the name. Bernie came up with it. I will never take credit for that.
Still the best name in the game. All right, man. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you later. All right. So, all right, Chris, gonna be back on in 15. Anything else for the people?
Guys, stick around. There's only 15 minutes left. Go take a crap. Drink a little bit of coffee. Come back
about
at
the
9
trade,
o'clock.
man. The trade. Anything else about the trade?
I'm done with that. Let it cook. For
are you good?
days.
Are you good? Do you feel a little better? Are we good?
I feel
you knew that Bryce Duke was going to
Like,
be on the bench anyway. He wasn't going to be starting coming up. So he was going to be on the bench. So you're not missing watching his blue eyes on the field. Like, that's done. You weren't going to see them anyway.
No
'cause we
long
can't
sleeve
see the
shirt
bench from
anymore.
City. No more long sleeve shirts. We now have a true center back next to Kristoff. We got two solid anchors back there in front of Drake, which, by the way, congrats, got called up to the U.S. men's national team. You know, I was watching that video when they announced it, and I was wondering, like, I wonder if he's going to thank his teammates. Because if it's not for his defense being so bad, he wouldn't have been able to, like, kind of showcase his goal stopping abilities, right? Like, so I thought he might, like, hey, thanks, guys, for allowing so many through balls and one-on-one situations where I could show off my skills. So, but unfortunately, he didn't say that. That's what I was looking forward to. But congratulations to him. I think it's awesome. I'm glad that he's getting that recognition because he should be the captain moving forward. But that's a conversation we'll have next week. Anything else, Chris, about the trade?
I feel a little bit better about it. The guys in the chat were amazing today.
Yes,
they made
appreciate
me feel
Matthew
a
and
lot better
for
about
joining.
it. Yes, and one thing I do want to say is I do feel a little bit better about the trade. Not that great. Okay, we'll give it a couple days. Let it simmer. All right, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
It's gonna be all good. It's gonna be all good. Now, again, we'll be back at 9:00 live on YouTube to talk to Joe Shaw about the history that he has. He has a podcast where he talks just Miami Fusion history. He has guests on that used to be on the team and the coach Ray Hudson and all of them. So we're gonna talk to him, have some fun with him. So if you care about Miami Fusion or you just have nothing to do later on, go ahead, join us live at 9:00. Until then, have a good one, and we'll see you guys later.
Later.